From Studio A in sunny Florida, welcome to Beauty and the Beach Radio, where it's all about who's beautifying Vero Beach. Today's show is brought to you by Dale Sorensen Real Estate. And here's your host and glamour girl, makeup artist, Cindy Goetz.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Beauty and the Beach Radio. I'm Cindy Goetz, your host. And today is a very special day, Cindy.
It is.
It's a very, very special day, and I cannot lie, my heart is beating very fast. It's probably the most important show that I've done in the 5 years that I have done radio.
Mm-hmm. And thank goodness you can do it.
Absolutely. So you guys, we're going to jump right in. First of all, shout out to my Lori Davis. She is away on assignment, but we could not be on air if it weren't for her and Dale Sorensen. So Dale Sorensen, thank you again. Thank you, Lori Davis, because without you, we would not be able to get this very important message today across America. So Dale Sorensen, Lori Davis, thank you so much. So Cindy, I'm going to dive right in because we have a lot to talk about. But we're going to talk about something pretty serious, and we're going to talk about someone pretty special. So Cindy, the U.S., is among countries with the highest incidence of this particular topic. Okay. With about 30,000 people currently living with this disease.
Wow.
Okay. Around 1 in 3,000 Caucasian babies are diagnosed with this disorder in the U.S. Okay. And a much lower, which is very odd, among African Americans at 1 in 17,000 births. And then even lower for Asian Americans at 1 in 31,000.
Okay.
Approximately, Cindy, 1,000 new cases of this particular disease are diagnosed each year in the United States.
Wow, that's a lot.
So what are we talking about, guys? We are talking about cystic fibrosis. I really did not know much about it until my niece got cystic fibrosis, which is why we're talking about it today. So what exactly is cystic fibrosis? I'm sure you've heard of it, Cindy.
Well, you know what? I'm going to pipe in just for a second or two and give a little back history of what I do know.
What do you know?
Years ago, I worked with this girl in a factory in North Carolina, and she had a son that had cystic fibrosis. This was in the 70s. And at that point in time, I remember her saying, and doctors saying, that females did not get cystic fibrosis. They were just carriers.
Wow.
I don't know if I've got the right statistic on that. And liken it to hemophilia, where females carried the gene but never got it. So when I learned of your niece's horrible
condition,
with it, I was like, wow, I wonder if that statistic was right that I've known or thought I knew all these years.
Nope.
Wow.
No. So you guys, so cystic fibrosis is a progressive genetic disease that causes persistent lung infections and limits the ability to breathe over time. So, Cindy, in people with CF, mutations in the cystic fibrosis transmembrane conductance regulator, they call it the CFTR gene, cause the CFTR protein to become dysfunctional. So when, Cindy, the protein is not working correctly, it's unable to help move chloride, which is a component of salt, to the cell surface. So without the chloride to attract water to the cell surface, the mucus in various organs becomes thick and sticky. That's what most people know of as cystic fibrosis.
Right.
Is the mucus becomes thick and sticky. Well, that's why. So in the lungs, the mucus clogs the airways and traps germs like bacteria, leading to infections, inflammation, respiratory failure, and other complications. For this reason, minimizing contact with germs is a top priority for people with CF. So in summary, guys, cystic fibrosis affects the cells that produce mucus, sweat, and digestive juices. It causes these fluids to become thick and sticky and plug passageways. So again, why is this so important today? Because my sweet Hannah Goetz, who is my brother's daughter, she is 17 years old, and you guys, I was just there literally weeks ago to see her graduate from Smithfield High in Smithfield, Smithfield, Virginia, to go on. She is enrolled and will go on to Longwood University in Farmville, Virginia, as a freshman this year in the fall. So she's got a big life ahead of her. But I thought we would start with who is Hannah, other than my niece. Who is she? And I want to introduce to the show because she's been such a wonderful advocate for our family, for Hannah Goetz, and that is Hannah's parents, Holly and Tim Goetz. Holly, this is her best friend, Mindy Poland. Mindy, welcome to Beauty and the Beach Radio.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here.
How
to
are
share
you
Hannah's story and to talk with you today.
Absolutely. How are you feeling? Because I don't know that you've gotten much sleep in the probably 10 days that you've been there with Hannah.
That would be correct. We spend long days at the hospital. They begin pretty early. We stay pretty late. And then in the evenings, I update our Caring Bridge page at night, which sometimes takes hours. So yes, I'm a little sleep deprived. Hopefully I'm talking coherently today.
Well, Mindy, I just want to thank you on air right now for all the wonderful blogs that you've been doing on this blogging site, because so many people across the United States are following Hannah's story and having hope from her story. And you've just been so wonderful. There's sometimes at midnight, 1, 2 a.m. that you're on that computer because people want to know how she's doing. So I appreciate all the work that you've done for that, Mindy, and continue to do.
Thank you, Cindy.
So, Mindy, let's go back in time. Let's go back in time pre-cystic fibrosis. For those that don't know Hannah Goetz, what was she like as a kid? Can you tell people what Hannah was like as a kid?
Absolutely. So she wasn't much different than the girl we know now. Very spunky, feisty, just a typical kid that likes to have fun, likes to play, joke. She has a great sense of humor. And to be honest, her diagnosis was later in life, but we never looked at her or thought of her as being a sick child. She really didn't show any symptoms of being sick. So just a fun-loving girl.
And that was my next question, Mindy, because this was something we didn't know of when she was born. So when was she actually diagnosed with cystic fibrosis?
So Hannah was 10 years old. Diagnosed as babies or young toddlers. So how Hannah was diagnosed was at school. They were doing a test to screen for scoliosis, and the nurse there, I guess, noticed something that she didn't think was quite right, and she recommended that her parents take her to get checked at the doctor, which they did, and they took an x-ray, and the x-ray technician noticed a lot of mucus that he saw in her lungs. And so they followed that up and did what's called a sweat test to test the chloride in her system. And they actually did the test twice just to confirm the validity. But that is how they found out through the sweat test that Hannah was tested positive for cystic fibrosis at the age of 10.
So, Mindy, it's important that people know that pretty much up until 10, she was as normal as can be, really had no signs of cystic fibrosis, although it is something that you are born with. It is in the genes, so.
Yeah, yes, that's correct. Really, the only thing that I can say that was a telltale sign is she was a little skinny compared to other kids, which, because of the absorption and digestion issues you mentioned earlier, cystic fibrosis kids sometimes have trouble absorbing all the nutrients from the food they eat. And so that is what was causing her to be a little underweight and a little skinnier. But that was the only telltale sign.
Absolutely. Tell us, Mindy, what was her normal day like for her CF treatments? What type of things did she have to do daily to just stay on top of it?
So once she was diagnosed, basically there's vest treatments. So it's a tight jacket that she wears and zips up, and the machine shakes her torso pretty vigorously, and it's to break up the mucus in the chest so that she's able to cough it up. She also has to take nebulizer treatments. Some people with asthma are familiar with nebulizers. And then there's medicines that she has to take twice daily. So the jacket, the nebulizer, and meds twice a day.
And those meds, I know some of them are enzymes to help break down the food. Is that correct?
That is correct. And another thing that she had done earlier when she was younger after the diagnosis was, as I mentioned, she was a little underweight and having trouble getting the nutrients she needed. For about 9 months, they inserted surgically a feeding tube. And for almost a year, Hannah was supplemented with feeding tube nutrition.
Mindy, in addition to those treatments daily, weekly, she would also have something called a tune-up. Can you tell us, in the cystic fibrosis world, what does tune-up mean?
Yeah, so not like the car, but her sister. So basically they would test, she would go to her pulmonologist probably every 2 months, and they would test her lung function. And when the lung function dipped to a certain level that they considered too low, they would suggest that she be put in the hospital. These tune-up hospitalizations would last about 10 to 14 days. And during those 10 to 14 days, she would have very strong IV antibiotics just to fight off any bacteria that's built up. She would also have those vest treatments that I talked about, but they would be done 4 times a day. And then she would also have, medicine and other things, the nebulizers. And they would continuously check her lung function. And when it got back high enough, then she would be discharged. The tune-ups were about 2 to 3 times a year when she was first diagnosed. And then as she got a little older in her teenage years, and I guess she was doing her medicine and stuff more frequently, the tune-ups became a little less frequent. So they were about once a year. And at one point, she went almost 2 years without being hospitalized. But then in this last year, she has been, hospitalized.
So Mindy, so she was diagnosed at 10 years old. Fast forward now, she's 17, just graduated high school. In between all that, life did not stop for her. She was a cheerleader. She was a soccer player. What am I missing? She was so involved with life, loved to go to the beach, loved to hang out with her friends. Life didn't stop for her, did it?
No, I like to say that despite being diagnosed with CF, she didn't let that define her. She lived very much a normal life that a normal teenager would live. She loves people. She likes being the center of attention in the spotlight. She's a performer. She had the leading role in several plays at her school. She would sing and dance. She loved music. She loves eating, makeup,
Tacos.
Fashion. A little bit like her aunt.
Yes. As a matter of fact, Mindy, last time I was there for graduation, I literally sat at her vanity with her and watched her put makeup on, and I was amazed. I'm like, Hannah, you can teach me stuff as a makeup artist. It was really pretty awesome. She is really a great makeup person too. So.
That's right. We went on a cruise. I was on a cruise.
We lost you just for a minute, Mindy, but you were just saying she was, you guys were on a cruise together. So I'm sure she was getting dolled up every night. Is that what you were getting at?
Oh, yeah. I witnessed her makeup routine as you did. It was pretty sophisticated.
Yeah, it kind of intimidated me, actually. So I'm going to just really dive right in at the sense of urgency here. So now here we are, literally weeks after graduation. She was not feeling good. She started out with the flu, then went to pneumonia. Now was admitted to the Fairfax Hospital, which is the largest hospital in Northern Virginia. She's been there for almost 2 weeks. This is how critical it is. They could not get rid of the bacteria in her blood. They realized they had to take both lungs out. So never been done before at this hospital where it's been done before in the U.S., just not at this hospital. They took both lungs out because she was never going to get better as long as those lungs were basically pumping that bacteria through her body. So they took it out with the chance of a lung transplant. And that is where we are today, you guys. We are waiting for those lungs. We don't have that yet, but we are praying that it will. And we've had some pretty cool things happen. And I know it's all because of prayer. And Mindy, I know you're a prayerful girl as well, but I don't think you've had a chance to post some of the positive things that have happened today with Hannah. Can you share, please?
I would love to, because we have had some glimmers of hope today and some really good news that we are excited to share. So one of the first pieces of good news is for the transplant score for the recipient, they have a total score that places you on the list. And so Hanna was in second place on the local list. And they wrote an essay yesterday and submitted it and expedited it. And the panel had reviewed it and changed her score. Her score is now went from 89 to 95, which the hospital says is the highest score they've seen. And it's bumped her to the top of the list. So
Wow.
the next pair of compatible lungs that are in healthy state are going to hopefully be hers. So that was the first piece of good news. The second piece of good news was that Hannah's been sedated for a week and a half since they inserted a breathing tube and put her on a respirator when she did have her lungs. And so we haven't seen any movement. Her eyes have not opened in a week and a half. And so today they were able to turn off her sedation medicines just briefly. And they wanted to see if she would wake up some and be able to respond to commands. And she successfully did that. She didn't open her eyes, but Tim was there asking her to move her left hand, her right hand, her toes, and she did exactly as he asked. And it was pretty amazing to witness. So praise God, we're very excited to know that she's in there and just being sedated, and she's at the top of the list, and they're ready to go as soon as they find the matching organ.
Yeah, what's so amazing, Mindy, is that she was initially, as you said, second on the list, 800-mile radius for the transplant. Now, because her numbers are up, it is anywhere in the United States, she's going to get dibs on these lungs, and we are believing. We have so many people praying out there. And before we go to station break, Mindy, I want to put up a few pictures for everybody. Wayne, let's start out. If you want to know more information about Hannah, and this is where you can find Mindy Poland's blog, but it's, first of all, Wayne's got up the GoFundMe page. You guys, I can't even imagine. Yes, they have insurance, but my goodness, they're in I just can't even imagine the medical bills. It's going to go beyond what they can even imagine. So we're putting up flashes of the GoFundMe page. And then the second thing you're looking at is the caringbridge.org. That is where Mindy is placing the blog, so you can see Hannah's progress every day. So Wayne, if we can go back to the GoFundMe thing again. So we'll show you that to you one more time. The GoFundMe page where you can donate money to help the expenses for Hannah Goetz, who is fighting cystic fibrosis. And then if you'll flash one more time, the Caring Bridge page, Wayne, and that's where you can go and find daily updates that Mindy posts about Hannah's success here. We got to wrap this up. Tell us one more thing. I want you to tell them, Mindy, the story of her room, her hospital room is number 211. I've been there. I spent the night in there. Why is that room so special, Mindy? Mindy, can you hear me? Okay, so I'm not sure what happened with that, but her hospital room number 211 is called the Miracle Room, and the patients that have been there have had amazing miracles happen, and so we are believing in a miracle. We are believing in those new lungs for Hannah. So finally, what I'm going to ask you guys to do is pray, and I do believe in it. I believe in the power of God, and I believe in the power of friends and family coming together. And Hannah, we are believing you're going to come out of this playing more sand soccer and going off to college, and she wants to be a nurse. So think of all those people she's going to be helping, Cindy, and creating better lives for others as well and passing it on. So we love you all. Thank you for hearing Hannah Goetz's story. Hope for Hannah. You can find all that information again on Facebook. You can go on my page and find everything as well. Hope for Hannah. Thank you, Wayne, for putting that up. Also, you were asking about cards. They are staying at the Ronald McDonald House, and that's 3312 Gallows Road, Falls Church, Virginia, 22042. You guys make it care of Hannah Goetz, Holly, or Tim Goetz. Thank you again. We got to go to station break. We'll be right back. Hey, Meredith, why do our friends always keep saying they're such big shots?
No, Cindy, they're always at Big Shots. It's a place for fun and food, not attitude. Anyone can go. It offers a full-service restaurant, 2 sports bars, a 2-story, 10-acre driving range, and even a miniature putting course for the kids and families.
Oh my gosh, sounds like fun. I want to be a big shot. Big Shots Golf, 3456 U.S. Highway 1, Vero Beach, Florida, 32960, 772-979-GOLF. And at www.verobigshot.com. Eat, drink, golf.
Waldo's, since 1947, has been serving up lunch and dinner with the best ocean view on the Treasure Coast. But we bring you more than that. We are also the premier location for musicians to showcase their talents on our outdoor bandstand. You can find our band schedule by visiting our new and improved website, historicwaldos.com. That's historicwaldos.com. So come join us beachside and enjoy a day or evening at Waldo's, located in the historic Driftwood Resort on Vero's Beach.
Hi, I'm Derek Ogden from Word of Mouth Computers and Electronics. Since 2009, my team and I have been providing South Florida and the Treasure Coast with the highest level of service in the technology field. Computers, networks, surveillance systems, web services, Wi-Fi systems, anything you need technology related, we're your guys. Small business technology and consulting is my passion. Whether your business has 1 computer or 100 computers, I will come to your office and give you a custom technology evaluation report, and you won't owe me a dime for it. That's right, a free in-office technology consult, but only for a limited time. For your home or business, all you need is one number for all your technology needs. Call me right now before time runs out at 888-966-7228. Remember, there's no obligation. That number again is 888-966-7228. And ask for me, Derek.
A member of the iTex training community. Your iTex dollars are welcome.
Okay, you guys, I'm going to end really fast with Mindy. Thank you for holding on for us. There's a nickname for cystic fibrosis, and what is that?
Oh, 65 roses.
65 roses. So you guys, the term 65 roses was coined in the late 1960s by Ricky Weiss. He was a 4-year-old with cystic fibrosis. Ricky's mom, Mary, became a volunteer for the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation in 65, and after learning that all 3 sons, you guys, had cystic fibrosis. So to help raise money, she volunteered on the phone to help raise money for cystic fibrosis. Unbeknownst to the mom, little Ricky was listening in on our calls, and one day Ricky, who was 4 years old, confronted his mother and told her he knew all about her calls. His mother was surprised because she had kept the knowledge of his condition hidden. So she looked at him confused and said, what do you think the phone calls are all about? And he answered, "You're working for 65 roses." So today, in honor of Hannah, we have roses in the house. We have purple roses for Hannah. And Mindy, any last thoughts for the family? What do they need? Help us with those last thoughts to keep Hope for Hannah alive with us.
So I do have some ideas for how people can help near and far. So the first thing that we really ask for is prayers. We believe in the power of prayer, and we believe the more prayers, the better. So we appreciate everybody that has banded together and been so prayerful to this point. And we have seen those prayers been answered. We've been at some very serious moments, and she has pulled through. So keep those prayers coming. As you stated earlier, we do have a GoFundMe page.
15 seconds.
We encourage people to just donate life. So blood donations, really anything you can do to help just promote life.
All right, promote life, you guys. We love you, Hannah Goetz. Get better. We love you.